next guest is the Honorable Vincent Byron. He is the minister with responsibility for communications, legal affairs, and justice. He's also the Attorney General. So, Attorney General, we left off speaking about the Criminal Justice Strategic Board. I'm sorry. Now, you are also the Minister of Communications. So, let's go there for a little bit, right? You are the chairman of Ep.7, the Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Regulatory Body. Now, I want to ask you this afternoon, what are some of the challenges faced by the OECS in light of the recent merger between Cable and Wireless and Columbus Communications, forming what we now know in St. Kitts and Nevis as Flow?
Communications, and just generally, if I may speak about that first, portfolio, for me is a very exciting one, because it's one in which we can make a significant difference, make a paradigm shift in the way in which we use technology in our country. As Minister of Communication, responsibility for technology and telecommunications, I have responsibility for the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, NTRC. The NTRC grants licenses to service providers like Digicel, Cable and Wireless now, Lion Flow, others who function in the telecommunication space. They give licenses to spectrum, the particular frequencies that radio stations operate on, and they manage that type of stuff. The NTRC is part of the Ep.7 regional body out based in St. Lucia, so that there are NTRCs in 5 of the 6 independent countries in the Eastern Caribbean in the OECS. All of the countries except Antigua have an NTRC. Antigua, however, is very much involved in the work of Ep.7, and hopefully next year they'll be joining as a full-fledged member. So they attend our meetings and they're very much involved in what we do. So that the NTRCs, the national bodies, basically operate through the technical support from the Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Regulatory Body Authority, Ep.7. Everyone would be aware that there has been this recent merger between Cable and Wireless and Columbus Communications. Cable and Wireless has been functioning as Line. Columbus Communications has operated as Flow. In St. Kitts and Nevis, we have never had Flow before. On the other hand, in the southern windwards, Grenada, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, they have had both Line and Flow as the two major providers who have been in competition with each other. And so the market force of the competition between those, in and of itself, could lead to a certain regulatory thing. So open competition in those markets would have in the past been very helpful in maintaining a certain level of control. What has happened is that now that Flow and Line have merged in those countries, we now have monopolies that are of concern in those markets, so that questions of basic pricing structures, plans, could be affected and would be affected. So that has been a concern. In St. Kitts and Nevis, though, we have had Line that has now rebranded as Flow. So that market control, we did not have that concern here, because Digicel, on the other hand, acted as the buffer, the competing factor with Line, now Flow, as well as when it comes to questions of broadband. The cable has been the competitor with Line, now Flow in the broadband. So we are very concerned about that. In Ep.7, I now had termed the chairman as the Minister the Council of Ministers, for example, are the superior body for the authority, and I have taken on the chairmanship of that body. Our fundamental, our priority is that we can provide service for the people of the region, sub-region, consumers, a basic service of good quality at affordable prices, affordable rates. That fundamentally is the thing that will create a market, a level playing field for those who give service to our peoples to do so at good quality at affordable rates. There are a number of issues that affect us at this moment. One is roaming in the region, so that if you are in St. Kitts and you go to Antigua, you may pay additional charges, or to the Windwards or whatever it is. And we are saying that this should be one space. You should have no roaming charges. There's a question of number portability. What does that mean? That people in St. Kitts walk over 2 phones. You have one for line from, one for Digicel, a 66 number, a 76 number. We say that there should be number portability where you should just have one phone. There are questions of over-the-top services that are offered, OTT services, net neutrality, that you should not have to pay for certain of the services, WhatsApp and so on. So there are a number of issues that NTRC for ECTEL have to have a regulatory body. There are issues that confront us. Do we have the proper legislative underpinning? Are the laws in our countries such that we can really fully implement some of these goals that we want to achieve? One of which is an electronics communication bill that has been drafted for a number of years but has not been carried to Parliament. And we hope that next year we will be able to have our members introduce that. That gives us a type of law in our countries, individual countries, to deal with these matters. So roughly, that is what we do from, in my capacity as chairman of ECTEL. There is a technical group in St. Lucia that advises us as ministers, and so that is what I do. But it really is one aspect that I do as Minister of Communications. In terms of Minister of Communication, say in St. Kitts and Nevis, for me, just as exciting, maybe even more exciting, is the work we do to make St. Kitts and Nevis a jurisdiction, a market in which, one, that every household is connected by broadband. I think it's important, it's critical priority that over the next 5 years of this term, that we have a policy, we have the policy that every household is connected by broadband. The real challenge for us as a society is that everyone has a smartphone. Everyone needs to be able to have services that are delivered. And so for me, it's perhaps my most exciting portfolio, because look, you go across the electricity department and you have these long lines an hour to pay a telephone bill, electricity bill, a water bill. I would hope that sooner rather than later, and I'm talking about over the next year or so, next couple of years, you'll be able to pay your telephone bill from your home, from your phone. These are things that we have to do, offer basic government services, e-government services online, are things that this administration would want to have accomplished and implemented. We're not reinventing any wheel, we're not doing anything. These are plans that have been around for quite a while, but have never been implemented. You should be able to apply for a passport online, to renew your driver's license, you know what I mean? Apply for birth certificate and receive it. They need to make sure that government services, basic government services, are accessible, much more readily accessible through electronic means, digital means, is one of the ultimate accomplishments we would want to point back on over the next year, or next couple of years coming. The Ministry of Communications is one in which I think will be delivering a lot of these functions in terms of within government. But we also have to take a lead as well, encouraging the market forces, young people to get involved in entrepreneurial activities, to be able to do their own businesses, web pages, to be able to do so many things to create, as it was, a new market and new opportunities to be able to not only to access the St. Kitts Nevis market, but we live in a global world, and this is how, living here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we can be doing things that affect people globally. And so we have the ingenuity, we have the will, it is for us to provide, as it was, the support, the sort of market forces to allow us to do so. And so for me, it's a very exciting area of the work that I do.
And again, we see the vision of the Team Unity government coming out in your statement.